And what's that old adage, Hector? Better late than never.
You got it.
We are coming live from Hennessy's in La Jolla. Let's see, we are 42 minutes late, but we've learned quite a bit about how important alcohol is to us.
Oh, yeah.
Because without alcohol, I really don't think I could handle the technology that I deal with. I am, as always, second half Chaz. Hector is joining us. He was kind enough to come down to La Jolla today. We made it through our issues. We're going to try right now to hop right into dialing. We've got a full cast of characters, but because we're late, they're probably kind of messed up. So what we're going to do is go ahead and go to a break, make some phone calls. We'll be back here. Listen to Sports Betting Weekly.
Whoop, whoop.
At ChampionshipFootballs.com, they offer a 100% money-back guarantee on every single souvenir football that they sell. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. There's nothing worse than trying to find the right gift for somebody that already has everything. Whether that special present is for a New England Patriots fan or an Ohio State Buckeyes backer. Maybe Grams is a lifelong New York Giants supporter. Or your brother-in-law is a 12th man living in Seattle. Know a member of the Michigan State Alumni Association? Is there a better Father's Day gift for someone who's a Baltimore Ravens fan? Send them the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, if your favorite pro team is the Buffalo Bills or those Minnesota Vikings, well, they're sorry about that. Also, if you're a New Mexico State Aggies or Tulane Green Wave alumnus, not much they can do. After all, the name isn't Nice Effort. You had a pretty good season, Footballs.com. The name is ChampionshipFootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Want to win more bets starting right now? Then you need SixBetsAGame.com. Since it was founded in 2011, SixBetsAGame.com has collected every single point spread result from every single football game. That means every first quarter line, first half line, and second half line. If you're saying to yourself, so what? Remember, the sportsbooks all have full-time departments for collecting data. That's why it's so hard to win. The bookies are very good at what they do. Here's how SixBetsAGame.com can help you win more bets. Last year, the Dolphins were 8-8. If you bet against them every week, you went 9-7 with the points. But if you bet against them for just the first quarter, you cashed 75% of the time. The Rams were 6-10 on the field and 7-9 against the spread. But in the first 10...
Yeah, we didn't do anything different. Now it's working. Figure it out. Okay, you can't eat on this thing, though.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah,
Okay.
no. Here, you can eat on this. I learned this the hard way.
Okay, cool.
Can we get another napkin for him?
Thank you.
Thanks. Hector's here joining us. So yeah, it's technology. You put up with it. What are you going to do? We've got Christian filming it today, so we're trying to get audio. Christian is with Vasquez Vision. So that's time I got left here. I can't see the screen. It's more green layer than our normal Saturday here at Tennessee's.
I'm actually in Seattle right now.
You are?
Yeah.
How is it up there?
It's actually been really nice. It was like 85 yesterday.
Yeah, there's, when I went to Connecticut, I had a weekend once where it was so beautiful. I thought, you know what, if it was like this all the time, I would have never left.
Was it slop?
Reality comes in, though, doesn't it, Slop? Reality comes in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, so what I'm trying to do now is we're a little out of sorts. We moved into the studio, and so I got all my computer equipment in there, and then they put the internet in the wrong room, so we had to come out and get the internet. So I woke up this morning and I went to my computer. My room was empty. There's no computer. I couldn't print any lines or sheets or anything. So I'm kind of we're like I said, we're mostly testing to make sure that the video aspect of it is working okay.
And so if someone wanted to watch, where would they go?
No. It's not. We're not live streaming it yet. So
you're not live streaming. All right. Okay.
Last week we tried, or 2 weeks ago we tried the videotaping, and it worked, but we couldn't do the audio because he can't hear the callers. Remember, he's
yeah, that's true. Okay, that makes sense.
Me. So then we went and talked to the audio guy, a couple cables. Now we're trying to see if he can hear the audio. He says he's got it fine. Where we turn to the clock. And,
okay, makes sense.
Yeah, I'll fill you in a minute.
What a queen!
I do professional.
Sports Betting Weekly.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough.
I win here and I win there. Now what?
Sports Betting Weekly.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Let's just do it. Let's put this thing head on. You were in it to win it. I'm about an education.
Sports Betting Weekly.
Wow, winning.
Sports Betting Weekly.
Sit back and enjoy the show.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Welcome to Sports Betting Weekly. This is Saturday, July 30th. 2.0 for us. This is 2.0. We are working our butts off to try to make this training camp as efficient and well managed as possible. I am second half Chaz. We are live from Hennessy's on the corner of Herschel and Silverado in beautiful the village of La Jolla. We've got Hector with us. He's got looks like a scramble. Is it something?
Yeah, it's spinach
There
omelet.
you go.
Yeah, thank you
Wrong
very
with
much.
spinach. We've got Sloppy calling in from the Pacific Northwest, correct?
Beautiful Seattle, Washington. Absolutely.
There you go. And so the question I have for you, Sloppy, as you join us here at Hennessy's is, do they have Hennessy's up there?
I don't think there's a Hennessy's up here, but I know there's a ton all over California, though.
Oh, no, right? We're in your neck of the woods. There's like one in every city. And remember, Sloppy, we've talked about it many times. If you're blessed to live in a city that's last name is Beach, you don't complain. So I don't care if it's Manhattan.
You can never
Beach,
complain.
Huntington Beach, Pacific Beach.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing.
Yeah, good one.
Maggie just said, what about Imperial Beach? And believe it or not, except for the occasional runoff of Mexican sewage, Imperial Beach is really the last bastion of affordable beach property.
Which is the classiest sewage, by the way, just so everyone knows.
Now, did you know that we had Junior Sales house just went up for sale? And he is
What's that going for these days?
They started at 3.4. They just dropped it to 3.1, I think. And he's right there on the string.
Well, that's really
Side.
beautiful.
Troy Polamalu used to own the house for like...
I see a couple parlays. I'll be able to get that.
Yeah, now, are you hearing Hector? Because I'm not hearing Hector.
A little bit.
Either,
I can barely hear him. Yeah.
That's all good.
Yeah, so we'll go. Let's see. We're gonna play it up a little. So that's microphone there.
I had a 500 season last year,
Oh, there you
so
go.
you don't have to
Hold
listen to me.
on. I'm getting a little bit of it. Yeah, so we won't have these issues when we're back online with ESPN. But if we can get this video thing down today, that's really all I'm looking for. So your sports weekend, Sloppy, this weekend specifically, what does it entail?
Lots of golf, lots of PGA Championship this weekend, and lots of Mariners on Sunday Night Baseball for the first time since I think 2004.
Wow.
So I probably get some national TV.
And who they playing?
Oh, they're playing at Chicago Cubs. In fact, that's my lock of the century. Take Jake Arrieta against my Mariners today. Mariners have no chance.
Well, didn't they just? It was like they put a dozen on it the other day, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Was that?
Yeah. That's just the Mariners. They're a little too starstruck by Wrigley.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Wrigley, Fenway, those are places that have been playing baseball for a long, long time. Hey, speaking of
I'm
Seattle.
starstruck when I go there, too.
Yeah, speaking of Seattle, I know because you tweeted from there earlier this year, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So speaking of Seattle, the hit king. Who's the hit king? Sloppy, you're a baseball guy.
Ichiro.
You're talking about, our head king is Ichiro Suzuki, but it's probably Pete Rose.
Yeah, well, you know what? Here's the thing. I saw that somebody said that they should start, if they're going to count Japan hits, they should count AAA hits. you can't really argue with them.
Hey, where did Edgar Martinez finish hit-wise? Did he over 3,000 or no? Remember Edgar Martinez?
What was the question?
Remember Edgar Martinez, the Seattle Mariners DH, and he played...
Oh, yeah.
Where did he get over 3,000 hits?
Of course.
Did he finish over
I
3,000?
don't think he actually... That's a good question. I think he did get to 3,000. I'm not really sure. It's not very close.
Here's another fine point that we're talking about with Maggie. We need another intern who's just a data person. Doesn't have to be a data guy. Doesn't have to be a data girl. It has to be a data person. But then you can ask Google. They can go in the corner. They grab their phone or Siri, whoever. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to grab Chuck from Picking Duck, and we'll see if he knows. Morning, Chuck from Picking Duck. How are you?
I'm good, Chad. How are you guys?
Well, we're struggling with the technology, but we're being blessed today by the presence of Christian from Vasquez Visuals. They are our video company, and he is helping us with the video. Next week, we're off. However, next weekend, I have already started pulling the 6 bets a game preseason data because though I won't be here, I'll be at a convention in Atlantic City, there will be a football game on.
They will.
Yep, and that always means
I'm actually going to
time of year.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm actually going to the LA Rams opening camp day today over here in UC Irvine.
Oh, there you go. Yep,
Nice.
Yep. How is LA embracing the Rams?
Oh, I mean, all the old school Rams fans are going nuts.
Yeah.
But I think LA in general is just happy to have a team back in town.
Right, and they're playing in the Coliseum?
Correct.
Yeah, you know what? The Coliseum could be
First home game against my Seahawks.
Are they really?
Oh, that's right. Opening day.
Yeah, there you go.
Are you going to miss Nick Foles there as your quarterback? Not having Nick Foles?
I don't think anybody's going to mess Nick Foles.
Hey, he had a streak there for a while. Did he have
That's just my opinion.
like 6 touchdowns against the Raiders in 3 quarters, and they pulled him out because they didn't want to have him break the record or something like that? Something crazy like that last year?
I don't know. All I do know is that there was on the radio there was discussion of the AFC West because, as you know, we're in San Diego, so this time of year it really is all Charger and Padre talking. The Padres talk has all been trades. Nobody's talking money line, future bets, none of that stuff, but they did talk about Kansas City, and in the back of my mind, I laughed and I said, yeah, well, obviously Philadelphia did the wrong choice there, because he kept winning. Just put him in another city, give him another team, and he did nothing but W's.
Yep. Yeah, we can hear you.
So
Yeah, he's always been a winner.
yeah, so Chuck, Picking Duck is now Sloppy. Did we talk about it last week with you, Picking Duck?
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah, because that site is something we're definitely going to be getting ready to I think I'm going to hold off Chuck till I get back from the convention. It's a convention for the championshipfootballs.com company, and we're going to go back to Atlantic City and see some other collectibles. But then what we're going to do, because Sloppy and I are looking at joining one of those Vegas contests. I actually have Maggie put together. Sloppy, we got 4 different casinos we're looking at. She's going to give us a kind of a mini little spreadsheet with all the issues, everything, and then we'll make the decision based on what's best for us. But that, of course, is a little different situation because that has some requirements. On Picking Duck, I could do as little as 1 pick a weekend, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you kind of go as you feel. 1 pick a week is fine. You can make 20 picks.
Right.
It's really up to you.
Right. And most of the casino contests, they have a minimum of 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that. So that'll be part of it because
Right.
we want to it's going to be something. And Sloppy and I, we've won every single CBS against the spread pool that we've ever had. Slop.
Yeah, 2-2.
Yeah.
But me and you.
Oh, you know what? You don't have to say it like that. It sounded better if you said every one.
Close enough, Sal.
Batting 100. Batting 1,000.
No doubt. So, Chuck, when you go today to the LA Rams opening practice, and again, it's Sports Betting Weekly. We are live from the corner of Herschel and Silverado and Hennessy's. We have a very good day going with Vasquez Visuals doing he's directing our very first video. We're going to work on this one because when we are in the studios from ESPN, if everything goes well, he'll have so many cables coming out of his video camera because one will be grabbing the audio so you'll be able to hear the callers as well, not just us. The other is he'll be streaming live on Ustream. So if everything goes well, you'll be able to go to Sports Betting Weekly Live in LA there, Chuck, and watch our show Saturday mornings on ESPN 1700. That's our plan. But of course, 42 minutes into today's plan, we were on plan B. So we realize things happen in the mass media world. We're doing our best. But yeah, so what I'm looking forward to, Chuck, is really getting to know some. Once we join, and I'm on Picking Duck pretty much every week, we'll get to know some of those people, and then hopefully I'll reach out to you or Ken, and you guys can then let us know, get us in contact with them, and we'll have them call the show and try to help not only push Picking Duck, but push these guys that are giving out winners, because it's rather simple on the show, and I've said it from the beginning. Sure, we like callers. Callers are great, but winners are preferred. Always,
absolutely.
Always will be, Otherwise, I'll just grab a quarter, flip it in the air.
Yeah, absolutely, Chaz. First off, congrats on all the success, man. We really are happy for you guys, and we know you guys are going to do big things. But we've already been plugging your show to a couple of our top players, and they are definitely excited. And the guys that are winning, the first thing they want to do is talk about it. So I'm really glad we'll be able to connect them with your show and get them on board.
Yeah, and it works with us. Doesn't really work much with Vicky. She just wants to know how much. If I won, she wants to know how much she's getting. Otherwise, she don't really want to hear about it. But there's no doubt with our buddies. Man, you go 4, 5, 6 in a row, you get pretty excited. It's easy to do it,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So Chuck, like I said, we're really looking forward to helping you guys grow as well, because it's funny. I got a call this week. I got an email from a tout sheet looking to do some advertising. And the first thing, you'll love this. The first thing I said is, I forget the guy's name, but I said, whatever his name was, I said, so obviously you've never listened to the show. And he goes, oh, no. I said, yeah, because we're really pretty aggressively against the tout sheets. And Chuck, you may not know this, but, the whole world of the sports betting channel, which is going to be introduced here in the next 2 weeks, was started with us buying the tout sheets, paying for them with our own money, betting their selections with our own money, and then reviewing them. And they were terrible. Terrible to the point of literally, you know what, the octopus that picks World Cup games? Yeah. It would have been better to go borrow somebody's octopus.
He went undefeated, I remember.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, my gosh.
So what's nice about...
It's like the same girl that wins I was going to say, it's just like the same girl that wins our NCAA bracket every year.
Yeah,
Who knows nothing about NCAA basketball.
She goes by mascots instead of players.
Well, the same thing with the girl and later in the show, if everything goes well, we're going to have a special guest from Delmar come in to spend some time with us. One of the things that happens at the racetrack is, you spend 45 minutes handicapping the third race, and the girl next to you is jumping up and down with a 40-1 winner. My sister's name is Wendy, and Wendy's girl romps home paying $78.20 to win, So it'll always be that way. That's never going to change. But yeah, so like I said, it really is a good fit. We're excited. Now next week again, we're off because I'm out, and then we've got a one more show here in Hennessy's, and hopefully again. That'll be if everything with Vasquez Visuals. Do you guys have a website, Christian, Vasquez Visuals? VasquezVisuals.com. But that was pretty easy.
One word?
Vasquez, VAZQUEZ, visuals.com.
One word.
Yeah, what are you gonna? Well, if it's a .com, Hector, it's not one word.
Yeah.
My e-commerce guy here, Hector, is helping us out. Yes, so if everything goes well, that'll be our first test of streaming. And again, Slop, you've been here from the beginning. We're making strides. You want to be, you want to run a 4-minute mile, but you know what? If you get down to 5 minutes, you got to pat yourself on the back and try again next time. You know what I mean?
Gosh, if I even finish a mile, I pat myself on the back. I don't care how long it takes.
Yeah, it is pretty easy to let the battle, I'll call it a battle of life, slide you away from doing your exercises. So I want to get back down to Chuck. When you go to LA, to the Irvine, to UCI for the LA Rams training camp, what are you doing there? Are you a Rams fan? Are you a football fan? Or are you? What's your reason for going?
Well, overall, from a company perspective, we just want to be in the presence of all local sports here in LA and Orange County. So that's first and foremost. We kind of just, we shoot content. We post that on all social media platforms. But as a sports fan, yeah, I want to be there. I love football. Football is number one for me and my team. It's obviously a big part of the year for a lot of sports bettors. But it's pretty historic to see football back in LA, and to be here on opening day is a big deal.
Yeah, I would imagine it'll be a pretty big crowd, and it'll be warm. So definitely want to bring your sunscreen. No doubt about that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't complain.
No doubt. All right, Chuck, like I said, we won't talk to you next week. Looking forward to talking to somebody from Peking Duck. And then after that, once we're rocking and rolling on ESPN, we'll definitely do some blasts out to your membership to let them know you, Ken, everybody, they're all welcome on our show.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate that, Chaz. Again, Peking Duck, PICKINGDUCK.com. Really, it's just a good place for people to get information, check out some free sports bets, and mix it up with the crowd. So, again, thank you, Chaz. Thanks, everyone, for having me on.
Yeah, have a great, safe week, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
You know, it's funny,
Okay, have a good one, guys.
because as you know, Slop, with most of the tout services, I'm a firm believer that 800 number, half of the people are getting Team A and half are getting Team B, and half the people love you. You know what I mean? But with
Yep, and then it cuts in half again next week.
Yeah, exactly. With Peking Duck, these are just human beings like us, just guys that log in, and if they get hot and you ask, for their pick, you can go on the side and, $5, $10, $15. And here's the thing. With some sports, that is going to be, for me, an option. But when it comes to football, I really don't care what your opinion is. And we've had this conversation before.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. And, that's all they are. Slop their opinions until they play the game.
Well, it seems like a perfect match. I mean, it's almost like a good Tinder date. Worked out fantastic.
Yeah. No, exactly. And you know what? Is that much to ask, Sloppy? Is that much to ask?
No, it's not hard. Just swipe right on me. That's all. It's not that hard.
No doubt about it. All right, so what we're doing is we're finishing up with Sloppy. Again, thanks for getting up. I know Saturday mornings are not always for you, but remember, we got some issues now. Tommy's not going to be around as much this fall. Johnny D's not going to be around as much this fall. So, Slop, there's always going to be a chair for you at the Sports Betting Weekly Live.com headquarters at ESPN 1700. Don't hesitate.
Well, I appreciate that very much. I'll be there.
And we'll talk soon.
Later, boys.
Later, Flop.
All right, so to recap, we've got Christian from VasquezVisuals.com directing our first attempt at the video. And it's hard because I'm so used to kind of just staring into space, I kind of forget there's a camera right there. We got Jonathan from San Diego. For San Antonio calling. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. You're listening to Sports Betting Weekly.
At ChampionshipFootballs.com, they offer a 100% money-back guarantee on every single souvenir football that they sell. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. There's nothing worse than trying to find the right gift for somebody that already has everything. Whether that special present is for a New England Patriots fan or an Ohio State Buckeyes backer. Maybe Grams is a lifelong New York Giants supporter. Or your brother-in-law is a 12th man living in Seattle. Know a member of the Michigan State Alumni Association? If there a better Father's Day gift for someone who's a Baltimore Ravens fan? Send them the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, if your favorite pro team is the Buffalo Bills or those Minnesota Vikings, well, they're sorry about that. Also, if you're a New Mexico State Aggies or Tulane Green Wave alumnus, not much they can do. After all, the name isn't Nice Effort. You had a pretty good season, footballs.com. The name is championshipfootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Do you want to win more bets starting right now? Then you need 6betsagame.com. Since it was founded in 2011, 6betsagame.com has collected every single point spread result from every single football game. That means every first quarter line, first half line, and second half line. If you're saying to yourself, so what? Remember, the sportsbooks all have full-time departments for collecting data. That's why it's so hard to win. The bookies are very good at what they do. Here's how 6betsagame.com can help you win more bets. Last year, the Dolphins were 8-8. If you bet against them every week, you went 9-7 with the points. But if you bet against them for just the first quarter, you cashed 75% of the time. The Rams were 6-10 on the field and 7-9 against the spread. But in the first half, they went 12-4 with the points. Betting the first quarter, the first half, or just the second half allows you to isolate trends that will take just a little bit of that house advantage away from the casinos and give it back to you. That's 6betsagame.com. Start winning more bets now.
This is Second Half Chaz from Sports Betting Weekly, and if you watch sports, you have to get one of these WatchEveryGame.com boxes. You don't even have to be a sports bettor to know a winner when you find one. However, if you do bet on sports, the WatchEveryGame.com internet streaming box is a must-have.
Chaz, are you busy?
Honey, I'm recording a commercial for the WatchEveryGame.com box.
Oh, tell them about the movies.
Vic, I'm letting them know that football, basketball, baseball, the fights, it doesn't matter. We get them all and only pay for basic cable.
Yeah, that's all great, but let them know about the movies.
Okay, I'll tell them about the movies. Now, will you please let me finish the WatchEveryGame.com spot?
Yeah, I know. Leave me alone. I'm working.
So if you like sports or movies, use promo code MOVIE at WatchEveryGame.com and you'll save $50 off of your WatchEveryGame.com box.
Looks like we're a two-box family. When Vince Young scored on 4th and 5 in the 2006 Rose Bowl, two things happened. The Texas Longhorns won the NCAA title, and ChampionshipFootballs.com was born. From Texas to Alabama to Ohio State, and now for Super Bowl winners too. ChampionshipFootballs.com is the place for the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, 10 years later, ChampionshipFootballs.com has the autographs too. See if any of these names remind you of a special time in your football life. Michael Bennett, Lou Holtz, Joe Montana, Devin Smith, Jameis Winston, Rocky Blyer, Rocket Ishmael, Ara Parsegian, Mike Stonebreaker, Chris Zorich, Luther Bradley, Todd Light, Tony Rice, Lawrence Taylor, Dave Casper, Marcus Mariota, Rudy Rudiger, David Tyree. Enter the promo code RADIO and you'll instantly save $50 on any of the ChampionshipFootballs.com autographed footballs. ChampionshipFootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Back and enjoy the show.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Welcome back to Sports Betting Weekly. We are live from Hennessy's. You got Christian, did you get that Hennessy's sign in the, Christian?
The logo?
Hennessy sign in there at all? The picture? We got to get some of that Hennessy love out there. We'll do some social media today too. Because we are live in La Jolla. I don't know, Hector's joined us. What do you think? Still 72 maybe?
Yeah, they said it wouldn't get up more than 76 today, so.
It's a little chilly, but, it's chilly a relative term.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. So far, let's recap so far. We had 42 minutes of technical issues. And then all of a sudden everything worked fine. But remember, we got a mixer, we got a computer, we got internet, we got Wi-Fi. In the old days, you just went to the corner and Luigi took your bet. It's a lot easier back in the old days.
Oh, he took your bet.
Yeah. And so now, and then Sloppy joined us for a little bit, and he was actually up in Seattle. Told us that Sunday night baseball, take the Cubs. Basically, is what he said.
That's a true Seattle fan. He was a realistic Seattle fan.
He told us 2 weeks ago. He said if they're playing Texas, Any team in Texas, Houston, Rangers, that don't matter, bet against them.
Yeah.
And then let's see what else. We got Chuck from PickingDuck.com.
Yep.
PickingDuck.com. We can do our own little picking duck contest on the show. That'd be fun.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, we can do that. With me, Hector, the biggest problem is I bet quarters and halves and second halves and stuff.
You hit him though. I like that.
No. That's just 2 years in a row. I'm not complaining. But that reminds me, I have pulled the data from, and remember, the one thing that we talked about was that we appreciate the callers, always have been. It's the winners really that we want. But we'll take the callers, but the winners are preferred.
Is this from last season? Or?
No, this is, I'm going to go over, this is the preseason data.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's rather simple. Callers wanted, winners preferred. And don't forget, Maggie, you've got to do some social media for our director from Vasquez Visuals to give Christian some love. But so here's the thing, guys. We're dealing with a unique situation this year. Not here, every year. There's that one game, the first game of the season, and everybody says, oh, you are a degenerate gambler, you're betting preseason. You know what? This preseason data won every single week. The year I started SitsBetsTheGame.com, it paid for the website. I went straight to Wells Fargo, where the Caribbean people sent me my money, picked it up, took it to Abdi or whoever the guy was doing I forget his name, was doing my website. Literally, it was like if you didn't know, if you were a cop, you would have thought a drug deal was going down.
Yeah.
I would pull into like a CVS, unroll the window, hand them $500 because I paid $3,000 for the website, and I did it with this data. Now, what this data says from SitsBetsTheGame.com, and we talked about it last night a little bit. We're going to get started with that. The first game is actually the Hall of Fame game on the 7th.
Yes.
On the 7th. Green Bay at the Colts. Now, it says Green Bay and the Colts, but there's no home team.
Right.
It's in Canton, right?
Yeah.
Where do they play?
Ohio, right?
They played at college, right?
Oh, yeah. I think they play next to whatever the...
Yeah, they played at college, I think. A college team.
Yeah.
So we need to look into that. We need to find out how many hits Edgar Martinez finished his career with and where they play the Hall of Fame games. So if you could work on that, that would be great. And when you get your intern army working under you, you can sit over there with the coffee and just point at the interns you want to do this. But today it's you. All right, so what do you do? What do you do? Well, you know what? I looked at it and I say, I really don't care about home data on this game.
Right.
Because it's not a home game. It's really two away teams.
Yeah.
So that's what I looked at. So I said, okay, we have data going back 4 years, which is 16 to 18 preseason football games. Because some years you play in the Hall of Fame game and you get 5 games.
Yeah.
And they rotated pretty good. But so somewhere between 16 and 17 games. Here's what we got. With Green Bay in the first half, the last preseason game last year, they were under for the first half. But before that, 5 straight overs.
Wow.
In the second half, over 7 out of 10. And in the last 6 preseason games, which goes back more than a year, because there's only 4,
Yeah.
5 out of 6 over. When it comes to the covering the spread, Green Bay in the second half is covered 5 of 7, and for the game they're 5 of 7. So right now I'm saying, well, Green Bay and over, well, duh. Think about it. You're talking about right now, in the history of Green Bay football, their offense is one of the most proficient offenses that they've had.
Absolutely, and there's a team that's going to start off on the right foot, and even in the preseason, you figure it'd be somebody like Green Bay.
Exactly. So that doesn't surprise me. Now, when it goes to the Colts, a little different. They've been under at 5 of 7, lost 5 of 6 in the first half. For the second half, they've been under 3 straight, 1, 2, and for the game, they were under their last 3, but in their last 7 preseason games, Green Bay has lost 6 of them. So
You're talking Indy, or you're talking...
Indy. I apologize. Thanks for catching it. You know, I always hate that. I always hate when I'm listening to a show, and the guy obviously makes a mistake in what he says. He says the wrong team or whatever, and nobody calls him on it. Always call me on it because
I love you, Chad.
it's confusing.
Yeah.
You know? So the Colts have lost 6 of 7. Green Bay's won 5 of 7. Well, who do you think I'm betting next weekend?
Yep.
I'm betting Green Bay.
Simple mathematics right
Yeah, it ain't rocket science. Now, all this is telling me what's happened in the past. It's not telling me what's going to happen tomorrow. However, that's what they call gambling.
there. Yep.
Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. All right, so then we said, okay, let's look at Green Bay away. In the first half, they've been over their last 2 preseason games. They've won 5 of their last 7 preseason games away. So then I went to the Colts, and I did for the home, and I thought to myself, well, yeah, technically they're the home team, but that's only on paper because
They have to have somebody as a home
yeah,
team.
exactly. So I went with their away, and it didn't really have too many trends. But in the second half, they won their last preseason game, but before that, they lost 5 of 6. So what I try to tell people is one of the things I think the trends from 6betsagame.com do in preseason is really they mirror organizational thinking. Because as you know, every team is different in how they handle preseason.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people will bet coaches in preseason.
Oh, yeah.
Because certain coaches, and Chip Kelly was one of them.
Yep.
Chip Kelly came out, they were scoring, the over-under in the first half was 17. It's always 17. They were scoring 14 points themselves in the first quarter. But didn't turn out to do much for them in the regular season. And so we'll see what happens, but I am pretty excited. And then after that, we go right into preseason week 1, August 11th to 15th. And then before you know it, it'll be August 27th. It'll be a Saturday, and we will be on the radio again at ESPN. And with a little help from our friends Christian and Kamal, we are going to be live streaming video. So we'll see what happens,
And that's a really, sorry to interrupt you, it's a really interesting point about the coaches thing and people betting preseason on the coaches, because a lot of coaches are like, we've been snake bitten so much with injuries, I'm just going to protect my team for the regular season, so you got to keep an eye out for that.
No, it's so important because the coaches, some coaches, treat it like a Super Bowl, and other coaches treat it like it's a practice game.
Yeah.
And like you said, they might have their starters out one series, and the next thing you know, you got some guy from Utah State running your team you never heard of. Hand it off to a guy from Upper Mississippi Valley State, A&R.
Can you imagine the old school days when they played 6 preseason games?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, plus the regular season? Oh
Yeah,
my.
because remember in Invincible, the movie?
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
The owner of the, yeah, the owner comes down and tells them, I wasn't expecting this start.
And the 6 games didn't count for anything, but if you lose them all, it gets to your head after a while.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt about it. All right, so let's see where we're at here. So we are going to go ahead and take a break.
100% money back guarantee on every single souvenir football that they sell. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. There's nothing worse than trying to find the right gift for somebody that already has everything. Whether that special present is for a New England Patriots fan or an Ohio State Buckeyes backer. Maybe Grams is a lifelong New York Giants supporter. Or your brother-in-law is a 12th man living in Seattle. Know a member of the Michigan State Alumni Association? Is there a better Father's Day gift for someone who's a Baltimore Ravens fan? Send them the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, if your favorite pro team is the Buffalo Bills or those Minnesota Vikings, well, they're sorry about that. Also, if you're a New Mexico State Aggies or Tulane Green Wave alumnus, not much they can do. After all, the name isn't Nice Effort. You had a pretty good season at footballs.com. The name is championshipfootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Do you want to win more bets starting right now? Then you need 6betsagame.com. Since it was founded in 2011, 6betsagame.com has collected every single point spread result from every single football game. That means every first quarter line, first half line, and second half line. If you're saying to yourself, so what? Remember the sportsbooks all have full-time departments for collecting data. That's why it's so hard to win. The bookies are very good at what they do. Here's how 6betsagame.com can help you win more bets. Last year, the Dolphins were 8-8. If you bet against them every week, you went 9-7 with a point. But if you bet against them for just the first quarter, you cashed 75% of the time. The Rams were 6-10 on the field and 7-9 against the spread. But in the first half, they went 12-4 with the point. Betting the first quarter, the first half, or just the second half allows you to isolate trends that will take just a little house advantage away from the casinos and give it back to you. That's 6betsagame.com. Start winning more bets now. This
This is Second Half Chaz from Sports Betting Weekly, and if you watch sports, you have to get one of these WatchEveryGame.com boxes. You don't even have to be a sports bettor to know a winner when you find one. However, if you do bet on sports, the WatchEveryGame.com internet streaming box is a must-have.
Chaz, are you busy?
Honey, I'm recording a commercial for the WatchEveryGame.com box.
Oh, tell them about the movies.
Vic, I'm letting them know that football, basketball, baseball, the fights, it doesn't matter. We get them all and only pay for basic cable.
Yeah, that's all great, but let them know about the movies.
Okay, I'll tell them about the movies. Now, will you please let me finish the WatchEveryGame.com spot?
Yeah, I know. Leave me alone. I'm working.
So if you like sports or movies, use promo code MOVIE at WatchEveryGame.com and you'll save $50 off of your WatchEveryGame.com box. It looks like we're a two-box family.
When Vince Young scored on 4th and 5 in the 2006 Rose Bowl, two things happened. The Texas Longhorns won the NCAA title, and ChampionshipFootballs.com was born. From Texas to Alabama to Ohio State, and now for Super Bowl winners too. ChampionshipFootballs.com is the place for the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, 10 years later, ChampionshipFootballs.com has the autographs too. See if any of these names remind you of a special time in your football life. Michael Bennett, Lou Holtz, Joe Montana, Devin Smith, Jameis Winston, Rocky Blyer, Rocket Ishmael, Ella Parsegian, Mike Stonebreaker, Chris Zorich, Luther Bradley, Todd Light, Tony Rice, Lawrence Taylor, Dave Casper, Marcus Mariota, Rudy Rudiger, David Tyree. Enter the promo code RADIO and you'll instantly save $50 on any of the ChampionshipFootballs.com autographed footballs. ChampionshipFootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Back and enjoy the show.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Welcome back to Sports Betting Weekly. We are live from Hennessy's in La Jolla. And again, as I've mentioned numerous times in our mornings here at Hennessy's in La Jolla, if you have never woken up in La Jolla, California, you really, really should add it to your bucket list. It's a village on the beach. I mean, what more do I need to say?
Even as a beach bump, you gotta do it one
No,
time.
I mean, exactly. And classy. I mean, you know what? When you're walking on the villages of La Jolla down by Hennessy's here on Silverado and Herschel, you might hear 5 or 6 different languages.
Yeah.
Because it is definitely a tourist spot. I am Second Half Chaz. I'm joined with Hector. We have Jonathan from San Antonio on the line. Jonathan, morning to you.
Morning to you guys. How you doing?
Good. So you were working late last night, huh?
Yeah, I was working late last night, man. So
We appreciate
couldn't
you
get up
taking the
really
time
early,
to
but
get up and call. We just looked up the line because I had told the guys that the 6 bets a game preseason data the last couple of years has been very, very strong. And we don't know, Jonathan, it's a lot of things, but we really believe, Hector and I, that it's an organizational thing, whether it's the general manager or the manager, the coach, setting not a philosophy, but really maybe a strategy that, hey, we're attacking preseason, or we're not going to care about preseason. And those are two totally diverse attitudes to have, and so there are some opportunities in preseason to make money.
oh, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it depends. You got to think about there's some teams that kind of had a bad year last year. They have a lot of young guys there and try to, preseason doesn't mean a whole lot, right? So they're going to try to get those guys playing time. They're actually going to try to win. But I think you got the better teams like the Patriots and stuff who really don't care. The teams that make the perennial playoff contenders, perennial, they're going to have a good season. The preseason is literally getting the guys, get Aaron Rodgers a couple reps. That's it. Get on the bench. Get Tom Brady. I don't think he's suspended for the preseason, right? So he might get a couple reps and then that's it. You know what I mean? So it really depends on the team that you're playing. Preseason for me, I'm very selective because it's really tough I haven't really found my niche in the preseason. So it's just depending on what kind of team they were last year, what kind of team they're going to be this year.
Exactly.
Yeah, and again, you know what? When you look at what I call the overlap, which is, you're going from, I'm looking at data from preseason. Now, we've got 4 years, so I was telling Hector, some of those teams have played in a bowl game, not the bowl game, but the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
So those teams have an extra game, but that means I have at least 16 games of data. If I see something that's happened 7, 8, 9 times in a row, we're not talking about a season. We're talking about 2 or 3 years of preseason data.
Yeah.
That and if it's the same general manager and the same coach, the same head coach, you got to think this is the way they attack preseason, and I'm going to take that opportunity and run with it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think preseason football in the last couple years, I don't know the exact number, but I think if you looked at it, I want to say the betting has increased in popularity for preseason football. And I think even back 5 years ago, I don't think anybody was betting preseason football. I mean, it was rare. Now, I think a lot of people are itching.
Yeah, I agree.
And
they're ready to go.
All the controversies recently with the NFL, concussions and Brady and all the stuff, it's gotten a lot of attention. And you know what they say, like there's no such thing as bad press. Some people are like, even the beginners that are getting into sports betting are like, this looks interesting to me. Maybe I should start betting on this,
Yeah. And then you have, look, man, there's a lot of year-round bettors. I'm a year-round bettor. I bet on every sport, everything I can make some money. I'm going to bet on it. If I find an avenue to take over the book, I'm going to do that. But I think there's a lot of bettors too that only bet football. And so when August comes around and they haven't bet football since, February 2nd, they're ready to go no matter what kind of football. Preseason,
I agree with you.
flag football, they're going to bet on something.
Yeah. And you know what? People say, how do you bet preseason? Well, hey, how do you bet Canadian football?
How do you bet arena football? It's like 75 to 70. Who's got the last possession wins the game.
Exactly. I was watching. There was
it's all about finding that.
I turned something on last night, and it wasn't on. And the reason it wasn't on is because it was 41-41 in the Canadian game, and they were getting ready to go to overtime. I watched 2 or 3 plays. It's always trippy for me when I watch either arena, as Hector mentioned, or Canadian Football League, as they're running full speed 8 yards from the back, and they hit the line just as the snap of the ball. That just always is trippy to me.
That's like ice bowl days right there.
It's weird. It's weird. I think arena football for me is the weirdest because I think Canadian football really they got a whole field.
Right.
Arena is a 50-yard field, right?
Yeah.
And they bounce off the
50
walls
yards.
like hockey players and stuff.
It's weird. Like I don't bet on it. I'm not. That's the one sport I guess you can say that I'm not really going to bet on is Canadian football or Arena football. But I have sat down and turned the TV and it's been on. It's weird.
They're hooking us in for the NFL season. That's what
and again, part of it is, and that's why we're so excited when we announce the introduction of the sports betting channel here in the next couple weeks, is because there are so many sports channels. They just inundated the airwaves. ESPN Ocho, Fox has Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, NBC has NBC and NBC Sports, CBS and CBS and CBC Sports. There's just not that much content going around, Jonathan, and so they got to put on whatever they can get eyeballs to look at,
Yeah, that's what is good. I mean, to be able to get a channel, and there's a lot of people listening about sports or wanting that edge when they're betting or making bets. People, I never realized until years ago, people actually bet who don't necessarily know a lot about sports. They just like the rush of betting, and they seek out those channels. They seek out those any tip they can get to help them make money. And that's kind of a cool thing if we're in the business of we already bet, helping people out.
Yeah, it's so true, and that's a great segue because earlier today we had Chuck from PickingDuck.com. Now, PickingDuck.com is a website where you join as a member and you make selections, and if people want, they can buy. You can sell those picks You can hide them so nobody sees them unless they give you money. There's a money-back guarantee, pretty much. And what it is, it's really a perfect fit for the public here on Sports Betting Weekly, because we all believe 100% in our picks. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they win 100% of the time, and I always use Wes from Kansas City, because Wes would come on and give a great pick and a great why, and then he would text me later in the day his five plays for the day, and sure enough, the one he gave us lost, Jonathan. The other four swept the board.
Oh, that's the most frustrating. That was the most frustrating part. Because I remember last year, I would even give like 2 picks on college basketball, and I'd go on the day I go 8-2. I read the card perfect, and then the 2 I gave you guys on the show, where everybody listened, were the 2 losers. And not only that, I remember that one day I gave you guys. Those games that I gave you weren't even close. Yeah. I got clobbered. Yeah. They lost by like 20 points a pop. They were both favored by like 3. Lost by 20. And then every other game I didn't give you 1.
Exactly. And Vicky's always funny because she doesn't get it. She just doesn't get it. But you lost. I said, honey, yeah, I understand I lost, but you got to understand, when you turn it on and you're given 7 and you're down by 20 and it gets worse from there in basketball, it's over. Yeah. So it's kind of painless. Yeah. It's like, almost like seeing the final score, That's how it happened. My wife's birthday is right around the All-Star break, so I had the under. I thought the under was a no-brainer this year in the All-Star game. Well, I didn't watch it. I was out to dinner, and all I saw was the final score. And later on, I had people tell me, yeah, but if you watched it, you would have been biting your nails because they scored a lot of runs early. And I said, yeah, but I didn't. Yeah, I just turned my phone on when I got in the car after dinner, and I saw the final 4-2. I had 7.5. I did the math. Okay, 6 is less than 7.5. Winner, chicken dinner.
You saved yourself an All-Star that
That's
one.
it. Yeah. That's it. I gotta say, man, I think I bet every All-Star game I bet on the under the play. I think just because you have, I guess you have all the star batters, and you also have a lot of those pitchers, man, that, they're starting pitchers, and all they have to do is come in for one inning of work.
18 pitches.
Hey, man,
that's it, man.
What's the old saying? Keep pitching.
That's it, dude. Any pitcher can go in for an inning and strike out the side or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, no doubt about it. And you know how it is in baseball. The second time around is, that's when people start, catching up to things. But in an All-Star game, there ain't no second time around. You don't see a guy.
Correct. Yeah, you don't see a guy more than one time. I think the starting pitcher might get 2 innings of work, but the rotation's not, the lineup's not turning over. So you're not seeing a guy twice. You're not seeing a guy 3 times. Where you can really start getting, information on him. You see him one time in the first inning, one time in the second, and that's it.
Yeah.
No,
it's a little different, but
it's so true. So now let me ask you this: we're kind of getting started. We're looking into the world of football, because our show will be on break next week. I've got a collectible show we're going to for championship football back in Atlantic City, and then we come back. We do our last show here at Hennessy's in La Jolla. We're on the corner of Herschel and Silverado, and we're looking for, by that point, to have the live streaming down. But the week after that, it's the real deal. We're back on ESPN. We're talking college football, and then that week, college football kicks off. Now, you may remember last year, Jonathan, we did, it was an all-NFL program. That's not what Sports Betting Weekly is going to be this year. This year, it's whatever you want, because what we have found is a lot of our listeners are following UFC. Well, guess what? If there's a UFC fight that I can win on a Saturday or a Sunday, it's no different than if there's a horse race that somebody gives me. I got multiple tabs. If I right-click my computer, it says open in new window. I can multitask with the best of them when it comes to my sports betting. So yeah, in that respect, it really does allow us to start to get excited.
Yeah, and speaking of which, there's a UFC fight there's UFC fighting the next 8 of 9 weekends.
Yeah.
There's going to be some type of UFC fight. So I actually got a couple fights tonight that I'm from.
Yeah.
UFC is a big sport.
Feel free to throw out a name. We're hoping to hear from Billy V because what is it tonight? UFC 201, right?
201. Yeah.
201, yeah. Robbie Lawler and Tyron Henry.
So who's
I don't know if I've been able to text you exactly, but I've been on a tear in UFC. I mean, every main event I've been spot on. I got a couple fights tonight. I like Benoit versus Serrano. Serrano doesn't have as much experience in the ring. He is 3-0. I want to say he brings a wrestling background. He's actually an Olympian from 08. I think he won a silver medal in the Greco-Roman wrestling.
Oh, wow.
But Benoit's bigger than he is, and he's more technically advanced. He's got more experience in the ring, and you're getting a small underdog. I got it at plus 110. He has me to minus 110. But I think Benoit is going to overpower. He's going to not overpower. He's going to be technically more advanced than Serrano, who does have a little more power, and he's bigger. So I think Benoit is a good price. I also like Carolina. I can't say her last name, but she's against the girl that's Rose. I can't say her last name either. But Carolina is a big underdog. She's like plus 220. What I got it at. I think she's getting. I don't think her takedown defense and her technical abilities are getting portrayed in the line. I think she's a very live dog. I think she's definitely a person. Everybody's kind of on Rose, but this fight has a lot on the line because whoever wins could be up for the belt.
All right, so I'm looking. I pulled up the
I think
line.
it's going to be a big fight for them.
I pulled up.
And then my last fight, dude, was
Hold on,
main event.
Jonathan, hold on. I pulled up the line right now, and you should not be embarrassed that you can't pronounce those two last names. Okay. But
No, I'm not even going to try.
So I want to get back to that first one you were talking about, which was Ryan Benoit and Freddie Serrano.
Yeah.
So you're saying because here I got him. They got him pretty much as a coin flip. So you're saying
correct.
Bet against Serrano.
Yeah, bet against Serrano. Benoit opened up as a dog. So I got him at plus 110. He opened up as a very white dog.
I got him. It says here minus 110. And then on the girls.
Yeah, he has moved to minus 110.
Dog as well.
I'm taking the dog in Carolina.
Yep.
Carolina. I think she's not getting the fight right now. This got moved to the co-main event. By the way.
Okay.
The other fight I was supposed to be on, one guy dropped out, whatever. So this actually got moved to the co-main event, or the women's main event, whatever, for the night. So I think it's going to be a big fight on the line, and then whoever wins this fight could be up for the belt, to challenge the belt holder. So I think it's going to be a lot. I think I like taking my dogs in big fight scenarios, and I also think that she's not getting the credit of her skills. She's got great takedown defense. She's got great technical abilities in her punches. She's got good power, too. So, in UFC, I learned one thing, man. You can be the underdog. If you catch him one time, that turns the whole fight.
And remember, our house, even though later in this segment we're going to talk to Squid, who has actually fought, he has fought in his career. Billy's never fought. Well, Billy might have had a couple fights, but they weren't in a ring. So what happened is... Billy has said that numerous times. What he said is that an elbow, a knee, that's all it takes. You catch somebody in the temple, the fight's over,
Who was it, Aldo? Who was it that? I want to say it might have been Aldo. They were a huge favorite. I mean, it was a championship fight. They were the biggest, one of the biggest favorites I'd ever seen. So, of course, I don't like betting on minus 1,300, but he gets in the ring, minute into the fight, just throws a kick.
Yep.
He was kicking. He broke his leg.
Yep.
But that's it. Fight's over.
Yep.
He was the minus 1,300. So anything can happen.
And you said one more fight.
The main event fight. Huh?
One more you said tonight you like?
Yeah, one more. The main event, of course. So the main event is usually I'm on the dog on this one. I mean, 7 of the last 10 have gone to the dog in the main event. I think the public is kind of riding that. They had a really good price on Willie. He has really good one-punch power. I think he's better in the one-punch power than Lawler. I think Lawler's better in every other aspect of that fight. I've seen Lawler get hit. I've seen Lawler get bleeding. I've seen Lawler take elbows to the head, get knocked down, still get back up and win the fight. I he can sustain the punches because he does eat a lot of punches. Every other aspect is really good. I think Tyron Woodley, to win this fight, has to be quick, which he is, and he has to get him to the ground. Unfortunately, Lawler has really good takedown defense. He's one of the best in the sport. I think that the public right now is going on. They love the price of Woodley. They're kind of betting on that based on the past UFC fights that have gone to the dog. I'm going to be reversed. I'm all over Robbie Lawler.
Well, actually,
he's a better fighter.
UFC lines, minus 155 is not outrageous. Because,
No, it's actually really good.
Yeah,
and he did open up at minus 220.
Yeah.
Correct. And when he did open up, it was minus 220. I just think Woodley's getting a lot of action because how quick he is, because of his one-punch power. But I think they're not taking into account that he's got to take Lawler to the ground, and Lawler's got too good of a defense to let the fight go to the ground.
All right.
Technically,
So ask you, before we
everything.
I want to ask you one question. Now, you just talked for about 10 minutes about 3 different fights, but you never once mentioned the will go, won't go. Do you ever bet those?
So which ones?
The will go, won't goes?
Well, finish the whole fight.
No, what are those?
Okay.
All right, see, and that.
Oh,
yeah, that.
I do bet those. I did not. I actually bet one last weekend that didn't come my way because I bet there was a big favorite. Forgot that who was fighting. He had like knocked him out in the first round. He has 5 of the last 6 fights.
Yeah.
The guy actually gets upset and it goes to round 3. I took the other 1.5.
Yeah.
I do bet them. I do. It just depends on the fight. If I actually like the fight, I'd rather bet the fight.
Well,
because when I look at it, sometimes.
Right. If we look at the 3 fights that you talked about, the lines weren't outrageous. But in some of those fights where it's minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 1,300, you're not going to be able to.
And that's what I did last time.
Much risk.
Correct. I'm not going to do that. So last time, what I did do was I did take the other 1.5 because I liked the favorite and I really thought I was going to take him out and real early. Unfortunately, he lost anyway. So I risked the money for the other 1.5 and I lost. But I'd way rather do that than bet the minus 1,800 and have to risk that much money to win $100 and lose that on an upset.
Not my money. Ain't gonna happen. Not today.
Correct.
Not tomorrow. Never. All right,
No,
Jonathan.
correct. So that's why I do bet the 1.5. But
appreciate you calling in. Like I said, next week we're off on the 20th. We'll be back with our final show from Hennessy's here in La Jolla. Looking to get our friends over at VasquezVisuals.com to get us streaming live, and then that following Saturday we'll be talking college football on ESPN. And can't wait to talk to you then.
I'll be ready.
Hey, Jonathan, before you go, did they set up a date for the McGregor-Diaz rematch yet, or no?
Yeah, it's August 22nd. It's
Sunday the 21st, or at midnight.
21st.
So, it could be the 22nd.
20th. Okay, so it is Saturday the 20th.
McGregor is open at 1:35, and the will go is 2.5.
2.5. Okay, cool. Just checking. Thanks, man.
All right, we'll talk to you next time, buddy.
I'm ready for that fight too, man. Rematch. Later, guys.
Later. So when we come back, we are going to have Squid on talking more UFC. Sports Betting Weekly is gone all UFC here from Hennessy's. We'll be back right after this. Squid?
I hear you.
Hey.
Yeah, I hear you.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
So where'd that nickname come from?
When I used to fight, and I come from a long wrestling background, so I'm just really flexible, and most of my wins were by choke.
Yeah.
So the whole tentacles thing.
Makes sense.
Hey, quick question, because I've seen it all the time, like on fights, sometimes the ref, like in the more, like not as professional fights, the guy's trying to tap out, he doesn't see him. Will you as a fighter notice that and just like, just pull out because you don't want to kill the guy, or wait till the ref breaks you up?
I'd probably stop, but it's like a case-by-case thing,
Yeah.
Because if you have a move, you want to win, you don't want to just let it up, and then, it depends if I'm putting the guy unconscious or, like, if he's just not, like, it depends.
Yeah, I was watching the replay to the UFC first one versus Shamrock versus Gracie, and Gracie's like letting him go, and Shamrock's like, and you could see the guy tapped out, So.
No, he definitely taps.
So do you always know as a fighter? Do you actually even? I mean, if I'm fighting you, I'm not paying attention. I'm trying to fight.
Yeah, the adrenaline's going.
Well, no, you pay attention because, like, in training, you're always like, if you have a submission, you have to pay attention for the second that someone taps, so you can like release immediately and not be like a terrible friend and like training partner at some school you're at. You pay attention to it.
They might call that a felon.
Yeah, they may. They put someone in a choke. They probably only have one hand to tap with, so that's the hand like you're watching anyway.
Yeah, they're trying to
that's the one you're focused on.
Okay.
Okay, I'll tell them about the movies. Now, will you please let me finish the WatchEveryGame.com spot?
Yeah, I know. Leave me alone. I'm working.
So if you like sports or movies, use promo code MOVIE at WatchEveryGame.com and you'll save $50 off of your WatchEveryGame.com box.
Looks like we're a two-box family. When Vince Young scored on 4th and 5 in the 2006 Rose Bowl, two things happened. The Texas Longhorns won the NCAA title, and ChampionshipFootballs.com was born. From Texas to Alabama to Ohio State, and now for Super Bowl winners too. ChampionshipFootballs.com is the place for the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, 10 years later, ChampionshipFootballs.com has the autographs too. See if any of these names remind you of a special time in your football life. Michael Bennett, Lou Holtz, Joe Montana, Devin Smith, Jameis Winston, Rocky Blyer, Rocket Ishmael, Ara Parsegian, Mike Stonebreaker, Chris Zorich, Luther Bradley, Todd White, Tony Rice, Lawrence Taylor, Dave Casper, Marcus Mariota, Rudy Rudiger, David Tyree. Enter the promo code RADIO and you'll instantly save $50 on any of the ChampionshipFootballs.com autographed footballs. ChampionshipFootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Back and enjoy the show.
Winner, chicken dinner!
Welcome back to Sports Betting Weekly. We are live from Hennessy's in La Jolla, around the corner of Herschel and Silverado. I am second half Chaz. We have Maggie helping out on the board. We've got Hector sitting here with a headset on. We've got Christian from VasquezVisuals.com. This is our first show with our new equipment that we're videotaping live. So what will happen is it'll be more than just a podcast. It'll be a podcast with video.
Yep.
I don't know if that's
close enough.
I'll have to get the terms. But again, we're taking off next week. We'll be at a convention in Atlantic City for ChampionshipFootballs.com. Then when we come back, we've got one more show from Hennessy's. We're looking to be doing some live streaming then. The week after that, the 27th, we are back on ESPN 1700, and there are college football games that week, and they are real games. They count.
Yes.
Preseason, of course, for the NFL starts up this week, coming up with the Hall of Fame game on the 7th. However, during our last segment, Jonathan from San Antonio, we started football, and somehow, right about halfway through, we took a hard left turn at USC Avenue. And we talked UFC for the end of that show, and I thought it was just a great segue because we got Squid on the line. Squid, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from Hollywood, California.
Hollywood! Is that Sylvester Stallone's house? I was like, that's Pretty Woman.
Yeah. Classic.
Hollywood.
Yeah, and so we mentioned earlier that you have fought. You know UFC from a little different perspective than a lot of people. But let me ask you this: How aggressive are you in wagering on UFC?
I'm not like super aggressive on wagering it. I always put my predictions out there to everyone, and I have a lot of gambling friends that always hit me up for their, I'm a little more frugal. I got some big bills in my life, so I don't bet as much. But I participate in betting pretty much a lot. But I help my friends that throw a lot more money than me down.
Right.
I'm like their go-to guy for like, hey, I'm gonna drop money this weekend. What do you think?
You're the knowledge bank.
I don't miss any fights. I watch every fighter. I'll watch the entire undercard today, and I'll probably rewatch some fights next week. That's how I do it.
Yeah.
So, but I bet on ones I like parlays.
Okay.
I usually go for like one parlay a weekend.
Yep.
So that's usually, I think that's the best way to clean house on a fight.
So how many you try to stretch it out?
Well, on like big UFC pay-per-views, I'll sometimes try to do 5 or 6 because I know a lot more of the guys, and I could actually make a knowledgeable decision. But for a fight card like tonight, I would do no bigger than a 3.
Right.
I don't think there's I think once you start going over 3, you're coin flipping.
No, well,
you're not really.
With you mentioned.
You're not really giving an educated decision because these guys aren't like the most famous guys. They all have 2 to 3 fights in the UFC, so it's not like there's so much information on them. Like UFC 200, I bet on 6 fights.
Right.
So, because all those guys have like 10, 12 fights in the UFC, and you can make a real educated decision.
Well, it's funny. That's a very similar situation is when you get into March Madness with college basketball, and you get some of those conferences that now they have point spreads on these games, but they haven't had point spreads all year long. So you can't really, you don't have any data, no history there, like you said, when you've got a fighter with 2 fights. The other thing about UFC, when you've got a good card and you can stretch it out, and do maybe a 5-teamer. Well, in a football 5-teamer, you're going to get 20 to 1. But with a UFC 5-teamer, it might help you get to even money or 2 to 1 because you're using a -4, and a -3, and a -5, and all of a sudden those by themselves. Do I really want to lay 500 to win 100? No, but if I throw 5 teams, 5 fighters on a $100 ticket, then all of a sudden I get back 230. For that 100, but
exactly.
I win 5 straight bets.
I think those are, I think that's the real way to bet on like a lot of UFC fights. I think that's the way to go. Is always parlay. It's just the way to maximize your money and not put so much risk on one guy. And it makes it like fun.
Yeah, well, I remember 200. I went out with the guys and we were at the sandbar there in PB. And it got to the point where Billy had given me a couple losers, and I was just betting what Billy told me to bet. Just no different than your buddies are betting what you told them to bet. Well, then we got to the last 3 fights, so I did a last-minute 3-teamer with the last 3 fights, and it included some will go won't goes, and it ended up cashing. That was the because earlier today. You may have heard Jonathan from San Antonio was talking about having Carolina, and it's not that we're on a first name basis, Squid. It's that we can't pronounce the last names.
It's good. I can't really pronounce her last. It's not that hard, but I can pronounce the other girl's last name. So it's like I'm halfway there.
So Sloppy said, he noticed with the girls that they always end up having upsets. So I end up. Betting against, I had Amanda by submission, and it was 11 to 1. 11 to 1 is pretty good. I don't get a lot of 11 to 1s in my life. I'll take it when I
60 seconds.
That's always
11 to 1 is you should definitely take that. Yeah, that was a good one to take.
No doubt.
That was a tough one just because of it was who it was and who that girl, no one really thought that girl had a chance, but.
Well, she's
you
gotta give her credit. She came out fighting. She was fighting. She wasn't dancing. She wasn't pushing. It wasn't wrestling. She was fighting.
Was this the last Holly Holm? Was this the last Holly Holm fight you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
No. Yeah,
it was Misha Tate.
Right.
It was Misha Tate. And I told you, she struggled to make weight really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
That was the one I was like, I wouldn't have bet for her because she struggled to make weight all morning the day before the fight, and that was one thing I noticed. I was like, ooh, I don't think she looks that good.
I'm
She
going to
might have
ask you
been
the same thing we asked Jonathan. When it comes to your UFC action and your recommendations for your friends, how often do you talk about Wilco Wonkos, or are you almost always talking about the name of a fighter?
No, we'll do some Wilco Wonkos for sure. 100%. It really just depends on the fight.
Right.
Because I always, like, I look at styles. I do a lot of things off of styles. Like, I think the guy earlier, he was talking about that Serrano Benoit fight.
Yep.
And he's playing for Benoit, which I think it's a good bet. But then if you look at who Benoit has lost to, he's lost to two wrestlers and that weren't like amazing wrestlers. And this guy Serrano was an Olympic wrestler. So it just sometimes the styles and guys just can't fight certain styles a certain way.
Right. No, it
So
makes sense.
So that would be like a fight I would, I'd probably bet on. That'd be like one of my parlay picks.
Right.
But yeah, the Wilco Wonkos are definitely good bet for.
Yeah. So let me ask you about the other two fights that he mentioned, and we talked about the girls, and I'm going to give them the respect that they deserve, because anybody who gets in the ring, in any ring, I don't care if it's an octagon, square ring, the bottom line is I boxed one round once back in high school. One round squid once for 3 minutes, and to this day, it's one of the most painful memories of my life.
You're still sore?
Oh my goodness gracious.
Michael.
God bless him. But it is
One and done.
Kowalkiewicz and Rose Namajunas.
Yep.
Rose.
Yep.
So Rose is a big favorite, 190, but that's a big favorite if you're talking football or baseball. But if you're talking Clayton Kershaw, you'll take him all day at minus 190.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think she's a big favorite just because she's been like poised as someone that's going to be fighting for a title. Like she did really well on the Ultimate Fighter show. She had like no fights before she came on the Ultimate Fighter show, so she's just grown up in the UFC. And her last fight, she fought that girl Paige Van Zandt, who that like Dance with the Stars chick.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And she beat her up for 5 rounds, like a main event of like a UFC fight night card. So she's fought under the big lights, and she's like actually shined. So that's why I would actually pick her. She's fighting a girl that's undefeated, but this girl has been given no media, anything by the UFC. Nobody even can pronounce her name really. She's a hot little chick too, but that's they're both really pretty, but Rose Namajunas has fought on main cards a bunch of times, and she's poised, so I would go for her. I would 100% not bet against her.
Yeah, this is where when we started last summer with Billy V as our UFC expert, and I mentioned that's one of the things that we talked about. He didn't know anything about the Wilco Wonkos, and I know I have been out to sports bars maybe a dozen times to watch UFCs, and I never not one time, has anybody ever cheered when a fight went past the point where now you're cashing tickets. I've never watched UFC in a sports book, which I would imagine would be a totally different environment, and that's going to be something we work with, taking a trip to Vegas for one of these UFC fights. But on the under-over, the Wilco Wonko, you got plus 185, so, I mean, is this the kind of thing where, why would I bet minus 190 for the same fight when I can get plus 185, because it's 2.5 of the 3 rounds. So that's the kind of opportunities I look at, and I say to myself, is there a chance that one of these girls can knock the other one out fast?
There is. Actually, Carolina's got some really good power in her hands, and she can knock her out. But also, Rose has Rose is a jiu-jitsu phenom. She's been doing jiu-jitsu since she was 14 years old or something like that. So I could see her winning by submission and ending the fight earlier rather than a knockout. She doesn't really possess
for listeners
lightning power in her hands.
For listeners that don't understand UFC, there's 2 different ways of fight, or there's multiple ways a fight could end, but there's 2 different ways to bet it. And the submission that I talked about when we won with Amanda, if there was only 13 or 14 seconds left in that round, if if that round, or if the guy comes in and the guy calls it before you tap out, my submission bet is a ripped up ticket. It's a piece of paper on the ground.
100%.
But if you bet her just to win the fight at minus 190, it doesn't matter how she wins. And those are, of course, called prop bets. And we'll talk more about those when we have our UFC show. And so I'm going to segue into the last fight, which was the Lawler fight. And he was fighting, that's the main event, right? Tyron Woodley and Robbie
That's the main event. That's the welterweight title. That's the long-time reigning champion, Robbie Lawler. He's actually fighting his teammate, Tyron Woodley. They actually train out of the same gym.
Oh, wow.
So,
now, something like that,
yeah.
if you don't know that, to me, that screams over.
Yeah.
That they're not going to try to kill each other.
that screams over. That screams over to me for sure. And Robbie Lawler's last, I think, 3 fights have gone to the 5th round. So it's something, I would probably scream over. It's just tough because Tyron Woodley gasses. He gets tired, so he's never fought more than 3 rounds. This is his first 5-round fight. So, if you're picking the over, that's mean that you think it's going to last more than 2.5 rounds.
Right. You got to get to that 2 minutes and 30 seconds of that second round or the third round.
Of the third round, because this is a 5-round
Right.
fight.
So that's 12 and a half minutes of fighting.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fighting.
Yeah.
For the regular fight,
about
it's a
3
little
minutes of
more
fighting.
easy to bet that. Yes. Like if you're betting just an undercard fight, that's 2 minutes 30 seconds of the second round.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
because they're going
7.5 minutes more fighting.
1.5 is the over.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
Billy made it quite clear. He said, you know what, that history that and we use. I love SureDog. I love Sure, and I think Squid and you and I talked about it on the phone. I love SureDog. I use UFC, but those stats that are on there, sometimes those are very valuable if you don't watch all the fights like Squid does. If you don't go back and watch replays of the fight like Squid does, you can go to a place like UFC.com. You can look at some of these stats and you'll see what you're talking about, which is how they've lost, how they've won, and you can then kind of see if that'll help you make a decision on one of those fights where...
the good thing about mixed martial arts is, like, you can go through someone's record and just keep working your way back, and if you can go off on a 2-hour tangent on one fight and start looking into guys. I'll Google guys, like I was looking at the Serrano fight. I was Googling guys that people fought, and I was like, oh, this guy wrestled in college, this guy wrestled in college, this guy wrestled in... Like, I started Googling, like, what guys did in what their MMA record consisted of. Are they wrestlers? So it makes it where you can actually get a pretty knowledgeable, like, idea of who's going to win just based on their styles. Because, wrestlers do well against strikers. Jiu-jitsu guys do there's certain styles that make for, better bets in my mind.
Right.
So I always go and will research the heck out of that.
But what we're hoping is...
Yeah, you can also go to mixedmartialarts.com. That's another good database of fighter records. Sometimes SureDog doesn't have all
right. Well,
all the guys.
I really like
fights.
SureDog for a couple reasons, but I think we talked about it when we chat on the phone. Was they give you that it's a written. They write out a blow by blow, and so you could have your phone on watching what's happened in the ring, and your wife doesn't know you're watching the fight. So.
If you have to be at work or someone doesn't have a TV or something.
Sometimes you need to be on the down low, Squid. You know what I mean? All right. So, like I said, we're off next week. We come back on the 20th, but you and I are going to talk because we're going to be starting. We've got a couple of guys helping us. Christian and Kamal are helping us, and one of the shows we're going to start pretty early is the this week betting the UFC. It's going to be a weekly show. Probably, I don't know, when did they do the weigh-ins?
Like 2 days before.
They do the weigh-in the day before.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll probably end up doing the shows, maybe Thursday or Friday when it's kind of a slow football day. But we're looking forward to that. And as always, our job is simply to help our listeners win more money. It's that simple. it's still gambling. You're still going to throw tickets on the ground. The bottom line is, well, we'll try to help them with money management. We'll try to teach them a little bit about how they can do their own research. We'll inform them on how we believe those will go, won't goes are a real big tool, especially in a lopsided fight regarding the lines, because again, you're never going to see me risk it 500 to win 100. It's not going to happen on my watch. You know what I mean?
Even if Kershaw's pitching, you said?
No. You know, Kershaw,
Healthy.
anything under 300, I'll look at a pitcher. Anything over 300, I'll usually bet the over.
Yeah.
And hope that the guy gets a big support. He may throw a 2-hitter. But his team scores 9 runs. That's what I'm looking for, because I just don't like that much risk, you know, for a little reward. All right, Squid, we'll talk to you again soon, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
All right, buddy.
Later, Squid.
Thanks for your help.
Like-
Yeah, so he gave us a new mixedmartialarts.com. He gave us a new website to look at. All right, so we're going to call it a day here. We still, for sports betting, we've got a whole weekend ahead of us. Pretty excited. For us here at Sports Betting Weekly, we just hang up now and we go back to work. Do me a favor, though, whether it's UFC, whether it's Del Mar, whether it's whatever it is, do me a favor and always be cash. And I'm second half Chaz. Well, thanks for joining us here at Hennessy's in La Jolla.
Peace out. Go Steelers!